My credit score app pinged at 6:12 a.m., and it said a new loan inquiry was filed in my name, at my mother's address. And I stayed quiet while my stomach folded in on itself. The worst part was the note under it, family member present at signing, like someone wanted me to see it and feel helpless. My name is Rhiannon Hale. I am 32 years old, and I work as a payroll analyst for a mid-size hospital network in Columbus, Ohio. I am the person who catches the tiny mistakes that cost people their rent money, the missing overtime, the quiet deductions, the checks that do not match the hours. I fix them, I document everything, and I never raise my voice when someone is trying to rush me. That habit kept food on my table. It also made my family hate me. 2 days earlier, we buried my grandmother, Kala, on a cold gray Monday that smelled like wet coats and cheap lilies. My mother, Arden, ran the funeral like a staff meeting. She handed out programs, corrected the hymn order, and told the pastor to keep it under 30 minutes. She did not cry. She did not even blink hard. She just kept smiling the way people smile when they are winning. My brother, Beckett, showed up in a black suit that fit too well for a man who claimed he was broke. He hugged my mother and laughed softly like this was all inconvenience. When he hugged me, his hand squeezed my shoulder a little too tight, like a warning, and he whispered that I looked tired. His breath smelled like mint gum and confidence. I kept thinking about my grandmother instead. Kala was not soft. She was the kind of woman who kept a ledger in her kitchen drawer and could tell you exactly how much a loaf of bread cost in 1989. She taught me to balance a checkbook before I learned to drive. When I was 12, she made me sit at her dining table with a stack of receipts and said, "People lie with words, honey, but numbers tell on them eventually." I did not understand then. I do now. After the graveside service, we went to my mother's house for the meal. It was the usual spread: ham that tasted like salt and a tray of cookies that looked homemade but came from a plastic clamshell. My mother talked about the estate like my grandmother was not even cold yet. She said the house would sell fast. She said she would handle everything. She said Beckett deserved help because he was going through a hard time. She said I did not need anything because I was stable. Stable. Like a horse you keep in the barn because it always comes back. I did not argue. I watched. I watched the way my mother touched my grandmother's purse like it belonged to her. I watched Beckett slide a ring of keys into his pocket while no one was looking. I watched their eyes meet for one quick second, and I felt something old and familiar crawl up my spine. I have seen that look in payroll meetings, right before someone tries to blame a missing deposit on the one person who always checks the timestamps. That night, I went home to my apartment and stared at my phone until my eyes hurt. The credit alert did not make sense. I had not applied for anything. I had not even bought groceries that week. I checked my bank app. Nothing moved. I checked my email. No confirmation. Yet the inquiry was real and it was tied to a branch across town, the same branch my mother used for everything, the same one she dragged me to when I opened my first account at 16. I tried to talk myself down. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone typed one digit wrong, but then suddenly a second alert came in. A new checking account had been opened. My name, my social security number, my mother's address. I sat on the edge of my bed and felt my throat tighten like a hand was closing around it. Despite that, I still did not call my mother. Not yet, because I knew exactly what she would do. She would sound hurt. She would say I was accusing her. She would cry in a voice that never produces tears. She would tell Beckett, and they would clean everything up before I could prove a thing. So I did what I always do. I built a file. I opened the Notes app on my phone and started a timeline. Date, time, alert details, branch location, screenshots, every single thing backed up to the cloud. Then I pulled up my credit report and stared at the name of the lender. It was a small local credit union, the same one my grandmother used. That is when I realized this was not random. This was family. At 9:03 p.m., my mother called. Her voice came through sweet and warm, like she was calling to ask about my day instead of to check what I knew. She said, "Honey, you okay? You have been quiet since the funeral." I kept my voice calm. I said I was fine, just tired. She paused, then asked the real question. "You did not take anything from your grandma's house, did you? We have to inventory the important papers." Important papers. The words landed like a brick. I said no. I said I only took a framed photo from the hallway. Her relief was not even hidden. "Good," she said. "Good." Then she added, "Your grandma was forgetful at the end." She got confused. She hid things. If you find anything strange, bring it to me, okay? Okay, I said. And I smiled anyway, even though she could not see it. After we hung up, I sat very still and let the anger settle into something sharper. My grandmother was not forgetful. She was careful. If she hid something, it was because she wanted it found by the right person. The next morning, I drove to my grandmother's house. My mother had the spare key, but my grandmother always kept a backup under the ceramic planter shaped like a cat, because she never trusted anyone to be the only keeper of access. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and closed windows. It felt like walking into a room where someone had just stopped breathing. I did not wander. I went straight to the kitchen drawer where the ledger used to be. It was empty. I opened the next drawer. Empty. The third drawer had utensils and a single recipe card taped to the bottom with yellowing clear tape. I peeled it off with shaking fingers. On the front was my grandmother's neat handwriting, her chicken soup recipe. On the back, hidden under the tape, was a small flat key and a note written in tight letters. Box 214. Do not let Arden touch it. Ask for the contents list. Bring your phone, trust your gut. My hands went cold. A safe deposit box. My mother had been talking about selling the house, dividing the furniture, closing accounts, and she had never once mentioned a box, which meant she either did not know, or she did know and was racing me to it. Hold on, tiny real life pause. Like, subscribe and tell me your city, state, or country and your first name if you want. All right, back to it. I took photos of the note, the key, the recipe card. I put the key in my wallet behind my driver's license like it belonged there. Then I checked the living room. The couch cushions had been flipped. The side tables were opened. Someone had already searched. My chest tightened. Beckett had been here, or my mother, or both. I walked to the hallway closet and opened it. The shelves looked wrong, too neat, like someone tried to hide the fact they had been rummaging. I reached to the back and found a shoebox of old holiday cards. Beneath it was a thin folder. Inside were copies of bank statements, with my grandmother's name at the top, and the account numbers blacked out with thick marker. Someone had tried to make them useless, but my grandmother had left one line untouched on every page. A transaction reference number, printed in tiny text. That is exactly what they missed. I left the house without turning on a single light. In the car, I sat in silence and listened to my own breathing. Fear was there, sure, but underneath it was something else, something hotter. Humiliation, because I could already imagine my mother saying I was dramatic. I could already hear Beckett telling people I was paranoid, and I could already see them spending whatever they were stealing while calling me ungrateful. I went back home and took a personal day. Then I made an appointment at the credit union. Not by phone, through their online portal, because portals leave timestamps. The confirmation email landed in my inbox with the branch address and time. I forwarded it to myself, saved it, screenshotted it. Habit, Armor. By noon, my brother texted me. He never texts unless he wants something. He wrote, Mom stressed. Stop poking around. Let her handle it. No hello. No how are you, just pressure. I did not respond. I copied the message into my notes timeline. An hour later, he sent another. Seriously, Rhiannon, you always make things messy. I stared at the word messy and felt my jaw clench. Messy is what he calls consequences. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the credit alert again. I saw my name on documents I did not sign. I thought about my grandmother writing that note with careful hands. I thought about her teaching me that numbers tell on people. And I thought about the part she wrote in the tight letters. Bring your phone. So I prepared. I charged my phone. I cleared storage. I turned on voice memo recording and practiced starting it without looking. I printed my driver's license, my birth certificate copy, the obituary, anything that proved my connection. I dressed like I was going to court. Not because I wanted to impress anyone, but because I refused to look like an easy target. The next morning, I walked into the credit union with the key in my pocket and my heart beating too hard. The lobby was small and bright, with motivational posters about saving for the future. A bowl of mints sat on the counter, and I almost laughed at how normal everything looked. A young teller greeted me. I gave her my name and said I needed to access safe deposit box 214. Her fingers paused over the keyboard. She asked for my identification. I handed it over, and I watched her face, searching for any flicker of recognition. She typed, she clicked, she frowned. Then she looked up and asked if Arden Hale was my mother. I kept my expression blank. Yes, I said. The teller's mouth tightened. One moment, please. She disappeared through a door marked employees only. I sat in a chair and forced my hands to stay still on my knees. A man in a suit walked past, glanced at me, then turned sharply back. He said my full name like it was a liability. He introduced himself as the branch manager, Griffin Monroe. He did not offer a handshake. He asked me to follow him. His office smelled like coffee and printer ink. He shut the door behind us. I placed the recipe card on his desk, and the key, and my grandmother's note. His face changed so fast I almost missed it. Color drained from his cheeks. His eyes flicked to the phone on his desk. His hand trembled as he reached for it. "Lock the front doors," he said quietly to his assistant through the intercom, "and call the police now." I sat there, silent, watching him stare at my grandmother's handwriting like I had handed him something alive. The intercom clicked off, and the silence that followed felt louder than any alarm. I kept my hands folded in my lap, like good posture could keep my life from tipping over. Inside, I was shaking in a way I refused to show. I had spent my whole childhood learning that any visible emotion would be used as proof I was the problem. Griffin Monroe stared at my grandmother's handwriting again, then at the key, then at me. His jaw tightened like he was biting back something sharp. "Ms. Hale," he said quietly, "I need the truth. Have you opened safe deposit box 214 today?" "No," I said. "I walked in and came straight to you." He let out a slow breath. "Okay, good. Why did you lock the doors?" My voice sounded calm, but my ribs felt too tight. He slid a thin folder onto the desk and opened it. "Because this box is flagged. Not because of your grandmother, because of who tried to get into it." My stomach dropped. "Who?" "Yesterday afternoon, someone presented power of attorney documents for Calla Hale." He didn't say my mother's name yet. He didn't have to. The notary stamp was legitimate. The signatures were not. Staff denied access and logged the attempt. I felt my face heat, then go cold. I started a voice memo on my phone inside my pocket. I didn't announce it. I didn't need to. This was the part where I stopped being polite and started being careful. Griffin turned one page, then another. "There's more. Around the same time as the denied access attempt, this branch processed an application tied to your identity, new checking account, and a loan inquiry." My throat closed. "In my name?" He nodded. "Yes." My mind snapped into a hard, clean focus. My mother hadn't just tried to steal from my grandmother. She had tried to put my signature on the theft, like a glove over her fingerprints. The intercom buzzed again. "Officers are here," his assistant said. Griffin opened the office door and two uniformed officers stepped in, followed by a woman in a plain blazer with a badge clipped to her belt. Mid-40s. Sharp eyes. Tired patience. "Detective Sloan Mercer," she said. "Financial crimes." The words made my stomach twist. Financial crimes meant this was bigger than a messy family fight. This was the kind of thing that ends with handcuffs and headlines. Griffin handed her the folder. "Safe deposit box 214, he said. "Flagged access attempt. Possible identity fraud involving Ms. Hale." Mercer looked at me. "Did you open any accounts here recently?" "No," I said. "I woke up to credit alerts and then found a key and a note from my grandmother." I handed her the note. She read it, eyes moving fast. Then she looked at Griffin. "Take us to the vault." We walked through a hallway that suddenly felt too narrow. The doors were locked, and the lobby was quiet behind the glass like the whole building was holding its breath. Griffin swiped his badge and punched a code. A heavy lock clicked. The vault room was colder than the rest of the bank, air metallic and dry. Rows of boxes stared back at me, identical little mouths holding other people's secrets. Griffin pulled out box 214 and placed it on a steel table. One officer raised a phone to record. Detective Mercer positioned herself so she could see my hands. "Before you open it," Mercer said, "are you authorized on this box?" Griffin answered for me, flipping to a page and pointing. "Yes, added 2 years ago. Calla Hale and Rhiannon Hale." My breath caught. My grandmother had put my name beside hers without telling anyone. She had built me a door and kept my mother outside. Mercer nodded once. "Open it, then step back. We document first." My fingers shook as I turned the key. The lock resisted, like it wanted to protect what it held. Then it gave. I lifted the lid. Inside was a thick manila envelope, a small black USB drive taped to a card, and a spiral notebook bound with a rubber band. On top sat an index card in my grandmother's neat handwriting. "For Rhiannon only. If Arden is with you, close the box and leave." My vision blurred for a second. I blinked hard and swallowed down the burn. I would not cry here, not with cameras, not with badges, not when my grandmother had written the instructions like a final chess move. "Photos," Griffin said. The officer zoomed in. Griffin took pictures of each item in place. Mercer pulled on gloves and lifted the notebook first. She set it on the table, removed the rubber band, and opened to the first page. It was a ledger. Dates, amounts, bank names, check numbers. My grandmother's handwriting, steady and angry. Next to several, entries were short notes that made my skin prickle. Arden said repairs. No repairs. Beckett picked up cash. Signature not mine. My mouth went dry. I had pictured my mother doing this in 1,000 anxious nightmares. Seeing it written down in my grandmother's calm pen made it worse, and also better. Worse because it was real. Better because it was proof. Mercer opened the manila envelope. Inside were copies of documents, labeled and arranged like evidence for a trial. Power of attorney copy, questioned signature, medical letter, false claims, withdrawal slips, disputed handwriting, printed messages. My grandmother, who my mother called forgetful, had been printing and filing like a woman building a courtroom in secret. Mercer slid one page forward. It was a screenshot, date and time visible. A text thread between Arden and Beckett. We need her signature today. If she won't, do it like last time. Tell Rhiannon she's dramatic. I felt humiliation flare, hot and familiar. The way they always reduced me to a nuisance, like my need for truth was an irritating habit. Mercer glanced up. You suspected this. I suspected, I said. I didn't have this. You have it now, she replied. Then she lifted the USB drive. On the taped card, my grandmother had written one sentence. If they deny everything, plug this in. Griffin hesitated. We have a secure compliance laptop, he said. Get it, Mercer replied. Back in Griffin's office, he unlocked a drawer and pulled out a plain laptop. Mercer inserted the USB. A folder opened on the screen. Video files, audio files, PDFs. My heart beat once, hard, like it recognized the moment before my brain did. Mercer clicked the first video. My grandmother appeared on screen at her kitchen table, shoulders squared, eyes sharp. The camera angle was slightly hidden, like it had been propped behind something. My mother's voice came through, sweet and coaxing. Just sign here, Mom. It's only so I can help you. My grandmother's voice was calm. You're not helping, you're taking. The sweetness dropped from my mother's tone like a mask slipping. If you don't sign, I'll tell the doctor you're confused again. I'll make it official. My stomach turned. My hands clenched and I forced them open again. Breathe, record, stay quiet. The video ended. The room stayed still. Detective Mercer looked at me, and for the first time her expression softened. Your grandmother knew, she said. She built this for after. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't even need to look to know who it was. My mother and brother were always fastest when they sensed control slipping. I checked it anyway. A text from Beckett. Mom said you're at the credit union. What are you doing, Rhiannon? I stared at the screen, then at the evidence on Griffin's desk, then at Detective Mercer's badge. I typed one word back, the same way my grandmother would have moved a pawn and waited for the trap to close. Okay. The typing bubble appeared under Beckett's message, then vanished, then appeared again, like he was trying to decide which version of himself to use. Charming Beckett or threatening Beckett. My phone rang 2 minutes later. Mom. Detective Mercer held out her hand. Let it ring, she murmured, like she already knew the rhythm of families like mine. I watched the screen vibrate against my palm until it stopped. My chest felt tight, but my face stayed neutral. Then my mother called again, and again. On the fourth call, I finally answered because silence makes people reckless. Rhiannon, my mother said, breathy and sweet, like worry was perfume she wore when she needed something. Where are you? Beckett said you might be upset. You didn't need to run to strangers with private family business. I glanced at Mercer. She gave a tiny nod. I kept my voice calm. I'm handling something. You're handling nothing, Arden snapped, the sweetness cracking. Then she smoothed it back over. Honey, listen, your grandmother was confused. She had all kinds of paranoia at the end. If you're at the credit union, just step away from whatever you found. Bring it to me, I'll take care of it. The words landed like a familiar slap. I'll take care of it, meaning I will bury it. I said okay again, same tone, same calm. There was a pause. My mother hated okay. Okay is what you say when you're not begging. Okay is what you say when you're letting someone hang themselves by their own rope. You need to come home, she insisted. Now, we can talk as a family. Beckett is coming too. Mercer leaned closer and whispered, tell her you're on your way, then don't go. So I said, I'll be there soon. My mother exhaled like she'd won. Good girl, she said softly, and the phrase made my stomach twist because she only used it when she thought I was folding. After I ended the call, Mercer looked at Griffin. Pull the footage from yesterday, lobby and vault corridor, also the teller station. I want faces, timestamps, audio if you have it. Griffin nodded quickly, already moving. His hands still looked a little unsteady, like he couldn't believe he'd been sitting in the middle of a family crime scene this whole time. Mercer turned back to me. "We're going to do this clean," she said. "Quiet, no confrontation, no warning them, you understand." I nodded. My mouth was dry. She slid my phone across the desk toward me. "They're going to push you to react. They'll try guilt, then anger, then fear. Your job is to stay boring." "Boring is my specialty," I said, and for a second, a strange laugh tried to crawl out of me. It didn't make it. The emotion stayed stuck behind my ribs. The next thing I didn't expect was how fast everything moved once the proof was real. Within an hour, Mercer had 2 more detectives in the office. A woman from the credit union's fraud unit arrived, face tight, carrying printed reports. A legal representative joined by speakerphone. My grandmother's ledger sat on the desk like a judge. They asked me questions in a steady order. When did I get the alerts? Had I ever given my mother my social security number? Did she have access to my mail? Did I use the same bank she did? Did I ever sign anything for my grandmother? I answered everything carefully. Short sentences, dates, exact words, no extra emotion, no opinions. I had learned years ago that if you give people a messy story, they blame you for the mess. Then Griffin came back with footage. Mercer turned the laptop toward me and pressed play. The screen showed the lobby from yesterday afternoon. My mother walked in first, hair perfect, sweater crisp, expression calm. Beckett followed half a step behind her like a shadow. They approached the counter. My mother leaned in close to the teller, smiling too wide. Beckett kept scanning the room. The timestamp was there in the corner, glowing in plain numbers. Mercer paused the video. "Your mother told you she wanted you to keep family business private," she said. "Meanwhile, she was using your family as a business." My cheeks burned, but I kept my face still. I would cry later. I would fall apart later. Right now, I needed to be useful. The fraud representative cleared her throat. "We also found the new checking account," she said. "It was opened with an online application initiated from a device inside Arden Hale's home network." My stomach dropped. "How do you know that?" "IP address," she said. "It ties back to her residence." Mercer nodded once, like she'd been waiting for that. "And the loan inquiry." The fraud rep flipped a page. "Same source, same day, same pattern." My mother hadn't made one sloppy move. She made a full plan. She was trying to build paperwork around my name the way she'd built paperwork around my grandmother's mind. Confuse the story, spread blame, make it all look complicated enough that people stop asking questions. That's when Mercer looked at me and said, "We're going to let them keep talking." I swallowed. "You want me to meet them?" "Not meet," she corrected. "Listen, and record if legally allowed, we'll handle the rest." We left the credit union through a side door. I sat in my car with my hands on the wheel, not turning the key, just breathing, trying to make my body stop feeling like it was buzzing with electricity. Mercer's unmarked sedan parked 2 spaces away, close enough that I could see her through my mirror. My mother texted again. "Where are you? Do not embarrass this family. Your grandmother would be ashamed." The line about my grandmother made my vision blur with rage. It was so shameless I almost admired it. Almost. I typed back, "Traffic on my way." Then I drove to my apartment instead and waited. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't scroll. I just sat and watched the time. Because if you want to catch someone in a lie, you let them believe they're in control of the clock. At 7:14 p.m., my mother arrived at my apartment building. I saw her on the door camera feed, standing there with Beckett behind her, both of them looking irritated and polished, like they'd dressed for the role of concerned family. I didn't buzz them in right away. I let them stand there. I watched Beckett check his watch. I watched my mother smooth her hair and paste on a smile. Then I buzzed them in. When they stepped into my living room, my mother looked around like she was searching for evidence. Beckett didn't sit. He paced one slow circle, like an animal checking the perimeter. Arden held her purse tight against her side and said, "We're going to solve this right now." I stayed calm. "Okay." Beckett finally spoke, voice low. "Stop playing innocent. We know you took something." I tilted my head. "What did I take?" My mother's eyes narrowed, just a flicker. "Whatever Mom left," she said. "You always did this. You always thought you were smarter than everyone, but you're not. You're just bitter." The words hit a bruise I'd carried my whole life. Bitter, dramatic, difficult. She used those labels like stamps on a file folder so she could sort me into the problem category and throw me away. I looked at Beckett. Did you open a bank account in my name? He blinked just once, too fast, then he scoffed. What are you talking about? My mother stepped closer. Rhiannon, if you keep accusing us, you'll ruin everything. We lost Mom. Don't you dare make this about you. I kept my voice even. I'm not accusing, I'm asking. That's when Beckett's phone buzzed and he glanced down. His face tightened. He looked at my mother. Then suddenly my mother's composure cracked, not with tears but with impatience. Fine, she hissed. Yes, we opened it. We had to. Because your grandmother was going to leave everything to you and she shouldn't. You don't even have kids. Beckett does. Beckett deserves stability. My heart thudded. The confession came out like it was the most logical thing in the world. Beckett threw his hands up. Mom, stop talking. Arden snapped her head at him. No, she needs to hear it. I watched them unravel and I didn't move. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just let the room fill with their truth. My mother leaned in, voice sharp. You think you're so righteous. You think because you have a job with spreadsheets you can judge me. But I did what I had to do. Your grandmother was spiteful. She wanted to punish me. She wanted to punish Beckett, so yes, I took control. I fixed it. Like theft is just a clerical adjustment. My phone, sitting on the coffee table, was recording the entire thing. I didn't tell them. I didn't need to. They were too busy enjoying the sound of their own justification. Beckett pointed at me, anger rising. Delete whatever you found, right now, or I swear I'll make your life miserable. I met his eyes. You already did, I said quietly. Then there was a knock on my door. 3 firm knocks. Not neighbor knocks, not friendly knocks. My mother froze. Beckett stopped packing mid-step. The next knock was louder. I stood slowly, like I had all the time in the world, and walked to the door. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't hitch. Because deep down, I had been waiting for this sound my whole life. I opened it. Detective Mercer stood there with 2 uniformed officers and another detective behind her. Calm, professional, unmoved. Arden Hale, Mercer called into my apartment. Beckett Hale. You are both under arrest. My mother's face went blank. Not shocked. Not guilty. Blank, like her brain was searching for a new mask and couldn't find one fast enough. Beckett's mouth opened. This is insane. This is a mistake. Mercer stepped inside and held up papers. We have bank surveillance footage, fraudulent account applications tied to your home network, attempted access to a safe deposit box with forged documents, and a recorded statement from this evening that includes your admission. My mother's eyes swung to me. For 1 second, pure hatred surfaced. Then she tried to reshape it into heartbreak. You set me up, she whispered, like I was the criminal. I kept my voice calm. No, Mom, you walked into your own trap. The officers cuffed them gently, almost politely, and led them out. Beckett tried to twist his wrists free like that would change the paperwork. My mother didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared at me as if I had stolen something from her. Maybe I had. I stood in my doorway as the hallway emptied. When the building went quiet again, Mercer turned to me. You did good, she said. You stayed boring. I let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped in my body for years. Over the next months, the truth moved like a slow, heavy machine. There were interviews, court dates, motions. My mother's attorney tried to paint my grandmother as unstable, but the videos destroyed that story. My brother tried to claim he didn't know, but the surveillance footage showed him standing beside my mother at the counter, watching her hand over the forged papers like it was normal. The micro twist that made me feel sick was learning the credit inquiry wasn't just greed. It was strategy. They planned to load debt onto my name, then claim I was financially irresponsible, then use that to challenge anything my grandmother left me. They didn't just want money. They wanted my credibility, but my grandmother had already solved that too. In the safe deposit box, behind the ledger, Mercer found a notarized letter addressed to the court, dated 6 months before her death. In it, Calla wrote that she was of sound mind, and she listed every lie Arden had told about her. She included names, dates, and a single sentence that made the judge's face harden when it was read aloud. If anything happens to my records, look at the copy in box 214. Arden cannot resist a locked door. Arden pleaded down. So did Beckett. Not because they were sorry, but because the evidence was airtight and they finally realized confidence doesn't matter when the timestamps are louder. Restitution was ordered. The fraudulent accounts were closed. My credit was repaired with official findings, not family apologies. My grandmother's house, the one my mother had tried to control, transferred to me through a clean will and a clear mind. And the final twist sat in the last page of my grandmother's ledger. written in the same neat penmanship she used for grocery totals. To my granddaughter, Rhiannon, I leave you my favorite thing. Not the house, not the money, the proof. Because proof is the only inheritance that no liar can spend. A year later, I sat at my kitchen table in that house, sunlight on the floor, and signed the last document to create a small scholarship at the community college for students studying accounting and fraud prevention. I named it the Calla Hale Scholarship. My mother sent one letter from jail, pages of blame dressed up as love. I didn't reply. I slid it into a folder with the rest of the paperwork because I'm still me and I keep records. Then I locked the folder in a cabinet and turned the key, smiling at how familiar that felt. The only thing I ever took from my mother was the power she thought she could steal from everyone else.